Hello, Stampers. Come on in. My name is Lori Staley, Addicted Stamper with Stampin' Up, and I am outside of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania in a small little town called Dillsburg. If you've ever traveled north or south through Pennsylvania on 15, you've probably driven through Dillsburg because we are right on 15. Thank you so much for stopping by today. Whether you're returning for another Make It Monday or it's the first time to my channel, sit back, relax. I'm going to share with you a really quick and cute Christmas card today, and I think you'll really like it, so I hope you enjoy this video. Before we get started, just a reminder if you've watched before or maybe you're new, these cards are my Just Card kits for September. And how do you earn those Just Card kits? Well, you earn those by placing a minimum $25 product order on my website, addictedstamper.stampinup.net, with my monthly hostess code. So each month there's a different set of cards. This month for September, this is the hostess code that you would use. This code is good through September 30th. And you would receive the Just Card kits. Okay, so as you can see, lots of beautiful designer series paper on here, lots of die cutting, embossing, etc. All of that is done for you. The only thing that you will need to put the kits together, of course, is your adhesive and your greetings. So all the work of die cutting, embossing, punching, etc., all completed in the kits, and they do come with envelopes as well. So if you'd like to take advantage of that, again, it's addictedstamper.stampinup.net, and the hostess code for September is right there for you. I'll also put the link below along with September's hostess code in case you want to take advantage of that after the fact. Okay, so let me share with you the project that we're going to do today. This is called a two-step card, and I love it. I did one of these a long time ago on my Facebook channel, or Facebook page, but the panel here was centered, right? So it was a front center panel card. But I started seeing them and I thought, all they did is really move that over to the left. And I just think that's so cute. Of course, it does stand up, as you can see. And it does also fold flat to go in your envelope. How cool is that? And then they can just take it out and pop it up to display it. And then on the back, I've created a space for a greeting as well as a space for you to sign your card and maybe even write a small message there. So let me show you how we're going to create this. First of all, the star of the show is obviously the beautiful Whimsy and Wonder 12 by 12 designer series paper that you are going to find on page 25 of the mini catalog. That paper is fabulous because, as you can see, we have all this beautiful foil or foil accents on the one side of each of the papers, and then on the other side we have this matte pattern paper. So it's really a great pack of paper, and some of the patterns on the back can be used all year round, so it doesn't have to be for Christmas. The other star of the show is that Merry and Bright. And here's the funny story about the Merry and Bright. Now, I've been a demonstrator 18 years, so usually when a new catalog comes out, I'm all over it and pretty much know what's in there. I kept seeing this shortly after the catalog was released, this Merry and Bright, and I'm like, well, that's really pretty. I have no idea where that came from. I bet I went through the catalog, I don't know, a half a dozen times looking for it. Couldn't find it anywhere until I started looking at all the little details, right? Sometimes we miss those. So on page 40 is the Bright Baubles bundle. And the, excuse me, the dies are really small, but guess what? There's a Merry and Bright in there. There's also a Joy in there. Let me show you that. So here's the Bright Bauble stamp set, which, to be honest with you, I did buy the bundle, but I haven't really used this very much. The stamps are really large, as you can see, right? So that's a really large stamp. That is a great focal image for a card front, as is the circular one. Now, I do like the stamped image. They're very pretty, but I'm in love with the dies, guys. The dies, guys? How about that? All right, so let me show you these. So we have our base for our ornament and then our circle. And this one says Joy, right? So this is all your detail, and then you can mount it on top of another color or maybe a piece of gold vellum. This one is the one that says Merry and Bright, sorry. And then, of course, it has its background, if you will. We also have one that has a tree, and again, this would be your background for this one, and a snowflake, right? And then we have our string with our bow on it. These little half moon or half circle images are to cut out the opening at the top of your ornament topper so that you could actually string it through string through a piece of baker's twine or a piece of ribbon, whatever you would like. So we're gonna use just the detail die for the Merry and Bright this morning. Let me slide that back in there, maybe. Oh, don't you love it when it goes crooked? And while I'm in this mini catalog, I do want to remind you that celebration is still going on. And if you still have a lot of things on your wish list from celebration or to get celebration items, it's also a great time to take advantage of that special kit deal, right? You get $125 for $99 plus tax. Stampin' Up! Even picks up the shipping. And you get to pick one of the 12 new bundles that's in this mini catalog absolutely free. So that could be another $60 because I believe one of the bundles is like $60.25 or something like that. So it's really a great deal. You also will then receive a 20% discount on any purchases you make through the first 3 months or the first full quarter after you join. Take advantage of it, don't take advantage of it, entirely up to you. But it is a great way to get extra product at a discount, right? So keep that in mind. I joined 18 years ago. People join for all different reasons. I joined to get the discount. I was going to be in for 3 months and jump out. 18 years later, I'm still here. I've survived 2 layoffs thanks to Stampin' Up! And I think I've retired earlier than I planned, only because I've been able to build my business over the last 3 years to a point where, you know, we're making it. So you just never know. For me, one of the biggest blessings of Stampin' Up! Is the friendships that I've made. The people that have come into my life and that are there for me and show up for me every day wouldn't be in my life if I hadn't met them through Stampin' Up! So I am forever grateful for that. And really, that's the most important thing to me. So whatever your reason might be, you want to have a little extra money on the side, you want to get a discount on your toys, you want to make new friends, whatever it is, think about it. You have a couple of days left of celebration to take advantage of that, and it really is a no risk, no foul type of deal. So, all right. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Hit me up below or find me over on Facebook. Lori Staley, Stampin' Up! Demonstrator is my page, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have and would love to have you as part of my stellar stamper team. So let's talk more about this beautiful card. And be sure to stick with me until the end because I do have 3 other projects I made with those dies that I'd love to share with you. All right, so the other thing that I'm using is on the back, right? We are using the Christmas to Remember for the greeting. Add a little bit more of that beautiful foiled designer series paper. Gives you a place to sign and write a little message if you so choose. So don't worry about any of the measurements for any of the pieces that I'm going to share with you because it's all going to be down below the video in the description. You'll be able to find everything there, including the supplies, the measurements, all that goodness. And I'll put a few links there for you as well. Subscribe to my newsletter if you'd like, and you will start receiving my Freebie Friday video or PDFs. They're very popular. Okay, so I have a piece of Blushing Bride 4 1/4 by 8 1/2. We are going to score that at a 1/2 inch. And you know, I always go to the left when I'm scoring smaller numbers. So I'm going to score this at a 1/2 inch. I have the edge of my paper lined up with a 1/2 inch mark on the left side. And then I'm going to flip it around because now it's a little bit longer, so it's easier for me to hold in place. We're going to do 1 1/2, 3, and 4. Then I have a 2 1/4 by 4 1/4 piece. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to score that at a 1/2 inch. And this is Blushing Bride that I'm using. Of course, that's the color that coordinates with that beautiful designer series paper. And 1 1/2. These are the two pieces that are going to create our steps, okay? And I'm going to do all my scoring and creasing with my bone folder before we do anything else. Then I'm going to do all my layering. I find it easier to get your designer series paper, your back, all of that onto the project before you have it put together, right? Just makes sense. Okay. Now you notice I'm not going to fold and crease on the opposite way as I do so often to break the fibers down, because I want this to have a little bit more structure to it. So I'm just going one way. Okay. So now we're going to bring this together with our layers. This one we can start with. This is just, needs to be trimmed down, I see. Yes. And that might be because I cut this paper too small. So, hold on a second, guys. We're going to do this on the fly while I grab my blushing bride. And we'll recut that. Thought something didn't look right when I did that, when I was creasing it. I thought, oh, it looks a little smaller than I intended it to be. So, let's grab that ruler. I will have the right measurement for you down below. Have no fear. 2.5. 2.5. And I want to see if this is right. Yeah, I'm going to guess it's 2.5 by 4.5. Do you ever do that with a ruler? Do you ever pick it up and the centimeter side comes up first? When you, it is 4.5. 2.5 by 4.5. So let's see what I've got here. We're going to go 4.5. I always pick my ruler up, and I'm telling you, it usually is on the centimeter side when I'm trying to use inches. And then we'll score this again. So this is a 1/2 inch and 1.5. All right. Now I'm thinking that paper should fit. What do you think? Let's find out after we crease these. Okay. Hey, look at that. Now we've got it. All right. So we're going to mount that with some seal. We're going to bring this piece in. We're going to mount our strip first, okay? And that is going to go in the third section, right? This after the second score line. And absolutely, if you wanted the top of your step, right? These, you could put designer series paper on there. I kind of like them being plain. It gives the eye a place to rest because we do have 3 beautiful patterns on here that we're using. And then this piece is going to go at the top. I love the Misty Moonlight pattern too. It's trees and stars, but it's like artistic, funky trees. Try to center that so we have an even border all the way around. Now we can flip that over. We can go ahead and mount our mint macaron piece. All right, did you see what I just did? I literally flipped a blank piece of cardstock over. Anybody else do that? I could have just put tape on the side that was up. We're going to go ahead and actually stamp our greeting that we have here on the back, right? And we're doing that in the mint macaron. I always use my grid paper to get me lined up straight. And we've got 2 shots of this, right? Because all of Stampin' Up's paper, cardstock, has 2 sides. going to go ahead and run that strip of beautiful silver foil piece down there as well. This would be a good place for me to have my silicone pad so I don't get tape on the back on the grid paper. Okay, and then we can mount that. So you can see this is a really quick card. The score lines are not funky. You don't have 1/16 of an inch. It does help if you cut the paper right the first time. But it is a really fun, cute Christmas card. It's a quick wow, right? Because your recipient is going to be so impressed with that. All right, so we are going to put this together now. We're going to use some tearing tape. That's the other product that I'm using. Always finding the end, right? There we go. And we're just going to put it along this 1/2 inch strip. I tend to keep it closer to the score line just so it keeps it nice and tight against the backing. I'm going to go ahead and put it on this piece while we're here. I've had people tell me they love the tearing tape. I have people tell me they like the red sticky tape that we had before. If you used both, drop me a comment and let me know which one that you like better. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and die cut our Merry and Bright. Okay, and I am using the silver foil out of the silver foil 12 by 12 pack that's in the mini catalog. This has 3 different shades of silver. One's real dark, it almost has a purple hue to it. And then we have this real bright one, and then there's one kind of in the middle. And we're gonna die cut our ornament out of this. But because this is so fine, I'm going to actually put adhesive sheet on the background. And if you haven't used our adhesive sheets yet, these are in the annual catalog along with all the other adhesives. You get 12 sheets of 6 by 12 adhesive, okay? And they're very easy to use. The trick for me is remembering to use them. So they do have splits in the backing. This piece is throwaway. The piece that stays is what's going to go onto the back of our foil. Okay, and I just line it up with the edge. I did cut it to size before we came on. But now I have adhesive sheet. So I'm going to run this through the die cutting machine. You know that sits to my left if you've watched me before. But I'm going to give you a tip. As great as the new die cut and embossing machine is, you are going to want to have a shim. For me, it's just a piece of cardstock. So I have the platform, I have plate 2, and then I have this shim of cardstock that I'm going to lay under my cutting pad. The reason I do that is because that adhesive sheet is just a little bit extra thickness for a very detailed die. So by doing this and running it, you know, through a couple of times, whoops, I should be successful in having a clean cut. It's time for new plates. Can you see how bowed my plate is? So let me bring this over to the machine. I'll be right back. I don't do it on my table for 2 reasons. 1, there's not always a lot of space to fit the machine in. And 2, it really bounces the camera when I do it over there. So I do bring it over here and just run it off to the side. But it literally sits right beside me on an old TV tray stand. Do you remember those? All right, so I ran it forward and backwards twice, and it actually looks really good. And look, it's already starting to fall out. Okay, so I think I'm probably really good. Let me just get my take your pick tool. I don't take the brush, the die brush, which is fabulous for detailed dies and getting lots of little pieces out. I do not take that over my foils or probably any of my specialty papers, right? Just because you will, especially with the foils, you will definitely end up marring the finish of the foil. So I go through the little bit of extra effort here, and I just use my Take Your Pick tool. But you can see it's really just kind of falling out as I go over it, which is really nice. And the reality is I'm not too worried about the outside edges. So let's pull this out and see what we got. Oh, wow, look at that. Yeah, that came out really nice. So that shim is definitely the thing you want to remember, right? When you're using the adhesive sheets, because the foil itself is already just a little bit thicker, has a different backing on it. It's a little bit stronger than our cardstock. So put that shim under it, run it through a couple of times. Look at it before you remove the die like I did, and I saw that it had cut fairly nicely. The reason I did that was if it didn't, I would have been able to take this back to the machine, but this time I would have run it through upside down. It puts the pressure a little bit different, and anything that hadn't cut cleanly, it would actually take care of that for us. So there's 2 tips for you when using the adhesive sheets. One is be sure to put a shim under your machine. And every machine is calibrated differently. If one piece of cardstock isn't really doing it for you, try a second piece, or a piece of cardstock and a piece of printer paper, so that you get the right extra thickness that you're going to need for it to just cut as cleanly as that one did for me. So then what you're going to do, and I know it's fussy cutting, but you're simply going to follow that greeting around, right? And you're going to snip it right out of the ornament. And it's actually not very hard. I am not going to sit here and do the whole thing, but you kind of get the idea of what I'm doing, right? You can always go back and trim it up. If you have like little extra at the ends of the letters, you can go back and snip them and clean them up a little bit. I do want to show you, though, one spot here. I'm almost there, so give me 1 second. Because there's a lot of fanciness, if you will, over here on the M. And some of it we can cut away. Like this piece right here, we're just going to cut that away. I mean, it's really pretty, but there's really not, it's not attached to anything. But this piece here is actually the and symbol. So you don't want to cut that away. So you're going to just follow that around. Okay. Now there's a little bit here we can get rid of at the very bottom of it. But make sure if you try this that you leave the and symbol in its entirety. And I might even snip this out just to make it a little bit, have to take my glasses off. I'm at that age, guys. I can get away with almost anything until I get to the point where I'm doing really fine detail, and then I got to pull them off. So you can see I've got that coming out. I'm going to go back in here later and trim that up so that I don't have any little snippets on the ends. But it's just that easy to trim it out. I've already done one, so we'll stop there, but I did want to mention that and symbol because it might just get lost in all the curlicues. Hopefully you can see that. Maybe easier here. So there's the and symbol, and then all of this curlicue is part of the B. Okay. Now, how easy is it to get the backing off? Well, it's pretty easy. Of course, until I'm live with you, or not live, but on a video for all of you. And all I did is kind of bend that tip over there. And look at that. It just pulls right off. You're going to want to walk it with your fingers just to make sure that we don't tear any of those curlicues, right? Or any other part of it. It is such a pretty script, though. But that's how easy it is to use our adhesive sheets. And try not to put your fingers all over the back because, of course, that does eradicate some of the stickiness. And then get that centered on there, just like so. How much easier is that than trying to use a fine tip glue or even a Tombow liquid glue and forget about anything like seal or snail, right? That would never work. All right, so now let's bring this together. Okay. And we're going to pull off the tear and tape. Backing, yeah. Let me grab my take your pick tool again. With painted nails, you have that extra thickness and it just does not want to come for me. But I do love my take your pick tool for so many reasons. It's just fabulous. And we're going to, so did you see what I did? I folded that little piece under and I just laid it down on itself. That will give you the exact placement for the first step, okay? We're gonna take this piece off. Oops, I just pressed it right back down. Okay. Gonna line that up at the bottom edge and then just bring that in. And we wanna make sure that that is even as well. Okay, oops, there we go. Hopefully I'm in camera for you. Bring this down and make sure it's lined up on the sides. Okay, and we should be golden. And then I'll just give that a slight, yeah, perfect. Okay, so we're gonna also put some tear and tape down there at the bottom. Except I put it away. So let me grab that out. Bring back in the take your pick tool. And just right down here, line that up. And that is our card. Stands up. Okay. So I'm always an embellishment girl, but for this one, I didn't use a lot of embellishments because all of that beautiful silver foil on the paper, right? So I'm going to leave them lay like that because I think it's easier for you to see them. Let me pull in, I promised to share with you a couple of the projects I made with those beautiful dies from the baubles, bright baubles. So these I did a couple of weeks ago in my Facebook Live. So this one I did use the wintry embossing folder on the background. I'm not sure if you can see that or not. And then the paper, the white snowflake paper, is the velvet, the white velvet. So it does die cut beautifully as well. Used the silver foil for the string in our bow and then embellished it with the blue adhesive back gem in the center, and then just regular rhinestones. But it picks up the blue tint, so it almost makes them look like the light blue rhinestones from the holiday rhinestones, which I love, but I was using a lot of them, so I was happy to use the regular basic rhinestones. This one, I did the same trick with the ornament with the tree in it, except that this time I used our green and red foil, obviously the green for the tree, and our gold foil. And then I mounted that behind some gold shimmer vellum. And then, of course, the gold ribbon. And these are the gems from Holiday Rhinestones. Used a little bit of the elegant gold trim as well. And, of course, the Merry Music embossing folder, which is really great for Christmas. And then this one, I used the hybrid embossing folder. And I cut out the Merry and Bright in the red foil. And the reason I said watch the and, guess what's missing? I cut off the and on this. I think our minds automatically go Merry and Bright, so hopefully I won't get called out on that from whoever the recipient of this card is. But yeah, I did trim it off on that one. And I used the new bark embossing folder in the background along with the red rhinestones. So there you go. There are 3 additional ideas to use with those dies. And here is our card from today. All right, folks. Hey, I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, a like, as well as if you haven't subscribed, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. Ring the bell so that you're notified when I load additional videos, and love for you to leave me a comment as well. If you're interested in ordering, I'll have the link below. as well as the link to join my team, or you can hit me up and ask me any questions that you might have. The measurements and supplies will also be down there for you, and I hope you make this card and have fun playing with all the beautiful papers, because not just these, but all our papers will make beautiful step cards. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day, and I will see you next Monday for another Make It Monday. Bye.